By the end of this video, we should have something like this. Just as rectangle drawing on the top left, and a small little crosshair in the middle that we can use for like ops and whatnot, whatever you want to do. Alright, what's up guys, ESP1Z1 here, and this is going to be how you hook DirectX 9 in particular. This is going to be a pretty universal method. It's going to be using dummy device to steal the EndScene function, and then we're going to be able to draw stuff on the game. This video is just hooking EndScene. I'll throw a little like crosshair in there at the end, crosshair overlay, but that's not the main focus. There's going to be multiple like ESP tutorials after this that I'm going to make to build off of this template we're going to build, and I'm going to have to give credits to Decode and Broyhan for making the dummy device method, which is what we're going to use for this. And then Solar and Rake worked on the functions for the hooking, the trampoline hooks and whatnot. And we're not going to elaborate too much on hooking for this video, but I'll give you some functions you can use and type them out and explain like a little bit of what they do. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new empty project and call it whatever we want to call it. And we're going to add these files. We're going to have our DLL main.cpp. We're going to have an includes.h. We're going to have a hook.h. We're going to have a drawing.h. And we're going to have a DirectX.h. And similarly down here, we're going to have a DirectX.cpp, a hook.cpp, and a drawing.cpp. Alright, and first of all, we're going to start the includes folder by including all the other ones. Right, and we're going to include windows.h in here. And then we're going to do some setup. So in the properties, we're going to first of all change this to a dynamic link library right here, configuration type. And then in the VCC directories, under include directories and library directories, you're going to want to put this, which is going to be in the description. I'll put them on a notepad here. And for the library, it's going to be this. So if you want to like write this down, it should be the same for everyone. And if you don't have the DirectX SDK, you just DirectX 9 SDK in Google, and it should be the first link. You should be able to download it from Microsoft. I believe it's this one. And yeah, so you're going to want to paste these in these two paths. And then your DirectX will be linked and everything. And then we can include those here as well. x9.h. Alright. And we're also going to have these ones. And this will just include everything you need for DirectX. Super quick little setup here. We like to not have to include a whole lot of stuff externally for gut attacking, but this is just DirectX. This is super important in the whole point of the video, so you can deal with 4 lines. Alright, and then after we have that set up, we need to include the includes folder in each of these. Actually, in the CPPs. Alright, and then we can kind of go ahead and get started here. First of all, we're obviously going to need our entry function, so our DLL main, which is going to have our H module, our reason, and our LPR, and we're going to go if reason equals DLL process attach, and we're going to create a thread, and it's going to call this function, and we're going to pass our H module, and that's gonna be it. And then after it creates this function and returns, it's gonna close the handle. And then we're just gonna return true at the end, so that exits. Alright, so now we need to make this function here. And that is just gonna be a dword when API. We call it hack thread. And we just need our H module. Right? And then at the end we're gonna have our uninjecting, which is we're just gonna free our library, exit thread, which is uninject stuff once we click a key. So while not get a sync key state, vk underscore end we'll use. We're just gonna sleep for 1 second. Not the best practice, but just for yeah. So once we click this button, it'll end this loop and it'll exit. And we're gonna do some unhook stuff here. We're gonna start it with hooking. We're gonna have some data up here, and that's gonna be the gist of it. We're gonna have our hook function here as well. Alright, so we can go ahead and get started with that. Alright, so the first thing we'll do is we'll make this to get our D3D9 device, and that's gonna be on this, which we'll set up now. This is a void pointer array of D3D9 device, which holds 119 void pointers, which is just going to be the V table of our DirectX pointer, or DirectX device. We're going to steal it. So we need to make this function here, and we're going to do that in our dx9.h. We'll set that up. We're going to need boolean get D3D9 device void pointer p table size to size, and we'll go ahead and make this function in the dx.cvp. Right. So this is simply going to start with, if we don't have a p table, if we passed the wrong one in or something, it's just going to return false. Alright, and then we're just going to create the DirectX 3 object, p d3d equals create 3d create 9 d3d SDK version. It's just a hash divide for the current version. This isn't a crazy in-depth DirectX series, so we're just gonna kind of speed through these things. It's more just how to hook real quick, so we can set this up for the ESP series that's gonna come up next. Because GDI is garbage, and that's like all that has been used so far, since it's annoying to set all this up. But thanks to Decode and Broyan, they definitely made this a lot easier for everyone with their forum post, with their template and stuff. Jeez, I can't type right now. Okay. Alright, set up a parameters object. We're not going to be windowed off the bat, but we'll check if it doesn't work. We'll switch it to windowed. And we're actually going to use windowed for just testing it, because it's easier to just test. Alright, and then we're going to have to make this function here for get process window, which is really easy. H window, get process window, and we're going to have a static H window, and we're going to have extern, window height, window width, and we'll set up those. Right. We'll throw this in here as well. Alright, and what that's going to be is that's going to return our window for our game that we're injected into. So we'll set the window to null off the bat, and then we're going to enumerate the windows, calling this enum_win function every enumeration. We're just going to cycle through the top layer windows, and it's going to call this function every single window, and they'll be able to do stuff. So we'll make that real quick. It's going to be a boolean callback, enum win, h window handle, which is each top layer window, lprem lp keyword proc id, get window thread proc id. So for each window we cycle through, check that, and we store it in proc id, and then we check if our get current process id is not equal to proc id. We return true, which means we're still searching for it. It's kind of backwards, but that means we're still searching for it. And if it's not true, we're not still looking, we're going to set our window and return false, saying we're not still looking for it. Right, and then now we have our window. So down here we can kind of use that. So rectangle size, we're going to set up get window rect, and now we're just going to get our window size and stuff, which helps for drawing ESPs, and we'll use it for the crosshair. Window size, window width equals size dot right minus size dot left, window height equals size dot bottom minus size dot top. And then I found that the top bar is about 29 pixels, and the like side pixels are about like 5 or so. To make this centered, we want to remove those because it includes those. And you can change these. Just you want to get it centered with your crosshair in game, and it should be good. You can tweak these how you like, or just remove them. If maybe you're internal, if you're in full screen, maybe those won't be there. Right. So now that we've got our process window, we can try to make our device. Dummy device created, and we'll try to create this with our object we created earlier. And we're not going to go through what all these mean. You can pop these in Google and look up the API and whatnot if you want to know more about these, or if you want to make your own parameters. But we're just going to use these default ones for now that are given. Since this isn't a super in-depth DirectX video. Right. So that's going to give us if we created it or not. If we didn't create it, so if it's not equal to OK, and it didn't pass, then we're going to try it in windowed mode, since earlier we set it to not windowed mode. And we'll try to just do this one more time. So just copy this entire line, put it there. And then we're going to do this again. If it still failed, then we're going to go D3D. Oh boy. Release. And we're going to return false, saying it just didn't work. Sorry guys. And other than that, if it doesn't fail out at this point, we should be good to go. So we can copy to our P table that we passed through. We can copy the dummy devices P table, since all of the DirectX objects they all share the same one. So we can just steal it. Steal the pointers, throw them on our pointers. All good. Just use those. And not have to worry about drawing an overlay and whatnot. You can do this all internally. And then we're good to go to draw the ESP and whatnot. And then we return true, saying we did do it. Right, so now we have this function. And then now that we have our V table up here, we're going to want to make a couple bytes where we can save the original stuff when we steal and replace it. So right here, we're going to mem copy EndScene bytes, which we just made, and we're going to steal the 42nd entry, which is the function for EndScene. So right here, and we're going to put this here. Did I type something wrong? EndScene bytes. Right. So we'll save that, and we can use that later to unhook the game. Just replace it. Alright. Right. Now the next thing we need to do is we actually need to create this Typedef in our DirectX H file for our hook. Our template, I mean, my bad. For our EndScene template. So we'll call it EndScene for template EndScene. And it's just going to be LP direct 3D device 9P device. It's the only parameter. And that's all we need for that. And we can make one up here. EndScene, EndScene for original EndScene equals null pointer for now. And then what we're gonna do with that is we're gonna set our EndScene equal to EndScene casted. And then we're gonna tramp hook this, and we'll do that right now. The parameters we're gonna be using are the vtable, this 40-second entry on the vtable, and our hook EndScene function, which we'll also create in a moment. It'll basically replace the 40-second entry with our EndScene function, and it's going to do that. So let's go ahead and make these hook functions. So in hook.h, we'll just go ahead and make 3 functions. We need a patch, which has a destination, a source, and a size. We need a hook, which has a source, a destination, and a length. And then we need a tramp hook, which has a source as well, a destination as well, and a length as well. And then in our hook.cpp, paste these in here, make these functions. And we can go ahead and get started on these. I'm not going to elaborate on these too much, like I said. Rake is posting a video soon on hooking in his OpenGL series, I believe. And Solar has a video on it. Those are all on the forum and the Guide to Hacking channel. There's also a nice forum post including a lot about hooking that you can look through. So we'll just type this out real quick and not elaborate on it too much, but I'll tell you what stuff does. Alright, so we need a D word to hold our old protection, and then we're going to change the virtual protect to at our DST to read write and save that at our old proc, and then we're going to copy DST src size and just set this back to oproc. So that's our patch. That's super easy. Hook is a little bit more complicated, still not hard. If we don't have more than 5 in our length, we can't fit a jump, so we'll just return another dword old proc and virtual protect. This time it's going to be src though, and then length, and then page execute read write, and same thing at old proc. And then we're going to memset src 09d length, so we're going to nop all those bytes for our length. And then we can need a relative addy for our function jump. DST minus src is 5. Right. And then we're going to place the jump at our source. So 0xE9 is output for jump. And then 1 in front of that is where we're going to place the relative jump address. So, rel-addy. And then we're going to protect it back to the original. Right, so that's our hook. And then tramp hook is very similar. And we're going to use our hook in there. So again, if our length is less than 5, we're just going to return 0. This is supposed to be a char pointer, my bad. my bad about that. Char pointer. Char gateway, because it's going to return the gateway. Function. Virtual alloc 0 len 5 mem commit mem observe page execute read write mem cpy gateway SSLM game pointer t jump addy equals game pointer t. Gateway minus 5 gateway plus len equals char 0x9. That's where I place our jump. Game pointer t gateway plus len plus 1 equals jump addy. So we place the address, and then if we can hook it. Gonna place the hook, return the gateway, otherwise we return null pointer. Alright, that's our hook functions just real quick. Then we can, this should work, all of this, but we're gonna have to make this hook function. So let's go ahead and do that now. This is super easy. It's just gonna be a void API entry hook EndScene, which is what we call it below. LP direct 3D device 9 P device. Since it passes through the P device, is where we seal it. That's what we use for a lot of drawing stuff. If we don't have the P device, then the P device equals original P device, and this is something we'll set up here. LP, we'll just steal this and change the name of that, and we'll copy paste this inside of this as well. Alright, and then we'll have to, at the end, we'll call our P device, or we'll call our original function, which we saved earlier, because if we don't call that, it won't do the rest of the stuff that the game has already prepared for us. So we'll end up like drawing our squares and crosshairs and ESPs and what, but not actually drawing any of the game, and it'll just freeze, and that's not what we want to do. And then inside of here, we'll do all our drawing stuff. And what did I do here? I forgot to add the word int. So our window height, obviously, does need to be ints. And as well, did I forget to add into one of these? I forgot to set it to a null pointer. Right, okay. And now we should be able to open up guided hacking injector, select our game process. Go to where it's saved, and if we're lucky, no, first of all, we have to add the drawing stuff. Alright, another thing we're going to do real quick is we're going to unhook it at the end right before we uninject. So we're going to patch, which is the function we wrote earlier, at the 40-second spot on the V table, our EndScene bytes that we stole earlier, those 7, to replace our original bytes for the EndScene. Alright, and then, yeah, like I was saying earlier, the drawing function, draw field rect, I think it's in X and Y and W and H, D3D color, RGB, it should just be D3D color. Cool. Alright, and then all of this, it's a void. Drawing.cpp. And D3D reg equals X, Y, X plus W, Y plus H, P device, we're going to clear that to the bar right, D3D clear, target, color, 0, 0, boom. I called that call. I'll change this one to color. Oh, I can't type color. Right, then we should be able to use this in the DLL main. here. Draw field rect. 25, 25, 100, 100. So that'll stop 25 over, 25 down, 100 wide, 100 tall. And then the color's gonna be just white. Alright. Now, when we go to inject it, it's going to draw a white rectangle at the top left. Or a square, because we set it up. But now I'll quickly show you how to, if you click End, it'll uninject like we set it up. How to make a crosshair. We'll just draw it in the middle with the width and height pre-made. So draw field, rect, window width, divided by 2, minus 2, window height, divided by 2, minus 2, 4 and 4, D3D color, RGB, 2 divided by 2. And that's just since it's divided by 2 is in the middle, height divided by 2 is in the middle, minus 2 since we've set it 4 and 4, we'll just center it and then set it to white. A is alpha, R, G, B, so just all full on, all the colors. And then when we inject that, you can see it in the middle. It's not perfectly centered. Like I said, you can tweak those settings. But yeah, if I actually turn off crosshair, you can see it better. Alright, and when we click End, it'll uninject, and we're out of the game, and we're good to go. So next we'll have tutorials on ESPs for CSGO specifically. I'm going to do videos on 2D box ESP, 3D box ESP, health bar ESP, name ESP. There's going to be a recoil crosshair ESP. There's going to be a headline like view angles ESP. There's going to be maybe a velocity ESP. Not sure about that. But I think that's it for now.
I really hope you enjoyed this video. Again, guidedhacking.com/donate, patreon.com/guidedhacking. Please support us so that we can continue to make videos, and peace out.